There are moments that do not arrive like polite guests. They split the sky. Tonight is such a moment. Do not expect a lecture. Expect a hammer. I will not soothe your nerves. I will test your bones. For within you stands a power older than your virtues and wilder than your fears, a surplus of life seeking a worthy form. You have been taught to call power crowns, offices markets, the clatter of metals on hollow chests, child's toys. True power is the inward excess that demands a shape. It frightens you because it asks for metamorphosis, not permission. The slave in you whispers, "Leave me my warm chains." The creator in you answers, "Break." You stand at a ravine between what you are and what you could become. Across the gulf rises a castle, no inheritance, only conquest. Below coils a serpent, neither friend nor foe, but examination. Turn away, and you will live forever in the village of excuses. Grasp it by the throat, and you will find the hilt of your own sword. What if I become a tyrant? Asks the timid conscience. Tyranny is the trick of a weak will. It governs others to escape governing itself. Real strength does not press down. It shapes upward. It does not hunger for obedience. It hungers for form. The truly strong are artisans of themselves. They command first a riot within, and by that mastery give others the courage to command their own. You cling to smallness for the same reason a drowning man clings to driftwood. Habit called virtue. But habit is a coward's halo. Strength is the willingness to drown false certainties and breathe a deeper air. Do not worship your idols. Tap them with a hammer. Where they ring hollow, let them fall. Where they sing, make them pillars. Your eye is not a statue. It is a volcano. The morals of the marketplace demand you cork it and call the cork goodness. I ask you to let the fire produce new land. Only he has a right to belief who possesses the power to smelt his beliefs. The lion in you learns to say no. The child in you learns to play yes. Between them, creation dances. You fear being misunderstood? You will be. Whoever climbs high grows invisible to crowd. The crowd mistakes altitude for absence. Endure the height. Warmth is for comrades of the summit, not the marketplace of shivers. Do not ask for a map. There is none. There is only a compass of surplus, the great yes that would choose this life again and again. Ask yourself, if all must return eternally, would you sign your days? If not, change them. If yes, sign in blood and dance. Practice begins with small cruelties against your pettiness. Refuse the honeyed grievance. Take the bitter action. Catch yourself saying, everyone does it. And do it better or not at all. Reclaim the body. Thought begins in the stride. Each day, create a small form of excess. A sentence with muscle, a boundary with grace, a rhythm that makes courage hum. Enough trembling. The power that would lift you beyond the herd is not outside you. It knocks. It asks one question. Will you become the form of your own surplus? If you consent, go. If you hesitate, go faster. Eternity is already deciding whether you are worth repeating. Do not mistake fear for an enemy. Fear is the guardian of the gate. It trembles in your chest because it knows. Once you pass, you cannot return unchanged. The coward hears that tremor and runs back to the village. The creator hears it and steps forward. The myths did not lie. Every hero must ascend before he ascends. Every castle of fire is reached only by passing the serpent. The serpent is double-faced, destroyer and giver, terror and invitation. Whoever avoids him remains a villager forever. Whoever confronts him learns to bind his venom into medicine. Civilization has taught you to suppress the descent. Priests call it sin, professors call it irrationality, families call it danger. They all agree, do not go down. And so you stay on the surface, safe, shallow, half asleep. But safety is the most poisonous drug. What you call stability is only well-decorated paralysis. Listen carefully. The disaster you fear is the very forge you need. The shattering of the brittle mask is not loss, but liberation. People prefer to be unhappy in their familiar chains and to risk the terror of becoming what they could be. They would rather bow to idols of comfort than meet the God within. The shadow you flee is your twin. It walks beside you unseen, carrying the parts you disowned. Your rage, your longing, your creativity, your raw strength. Denied, it turns against you. The man who rejects his anger becomes a puppet of hidden rage. The woman who disowns her will become a prisoner of her own passivity. But reconcile with the shadow, and you gain not a monster, but a companion. This is why the descent is necessary. You do not out-argue the dragon. You enter its cave. You endure the smoke and the heat until you either perish or emerge with new eyes. All great myths understood. Initiation is always a death and a rebirth. The ego must die so that the self may rise. In the black fire of destruction, the new yes is born. That which you called your limits are only masks of your cowardice. Tear them away, and you will see not emptiness but excess. The path downward is not an abyss, but a crucible. The deeper you go, the higher the form you can bear. Do not wait for others to bless your courage. They will resist, they will ridicule, they will brand your descent as madness. The herd defends itself by mocking the one who leaves it. Let them. They are chained to their own caution. You, if you dare, be chained to your own becoming. The serpent awaits. It glistens with terror, but also with promise. Will you recoil, or will you grasp it and discover that the terror was only the first veil of your strength? Every culture erects idols to keep men small. They tell you, this is virtue, this is reason, this is safety. They hand you masks and say, wear them and you will be good. But idols are hollow statues. Tap them with a hammer, and you will hear the emptiness ring. Do not misunderstand me. The hammer is not only for destruction. The hammer is also for testing. Strike your convictions and hear what sings. Strike again and hear what breaks. Where it rings hollow, smash. Where it sings, build. Thus style is born, not by piling beliefs on your back, but by hammering them until only what is true remains. The man who never tests his idols lives as a servant of ghosts. He bows to empty thrones. His morality is secondhand, his thoughts borrowed. His virtues the product is fear, freedom. But the one who dares to destroy finds himself standing on a cleared ground with room to build. Your eye is not finished. It is not a statue frozen in marble. It is a volcano, restless, overflowing, demanding release. Morality of the herd demands you cork it and call the cork goodness. I tell you, let it erupt. Let it burn the wasteland of stale values and create new soil. Lava is terror. Yes, but lava is also fertility. Do not be afraid of contradiction. Only the weak fear the tension of opposites. To create, you must carry both light and shadow, both lion and child, both cruelty and generosity. The herd calls this hypocrisy. I call it fullness. To be whole is to contain multitudes without dissolving into chaos. Style is forged in this fire, not the style of costume or posture, but the style of being. It is a rhythm by which your surplus takes shape in the world. The weak imitate, heroes invent. The herd copies, creators dance. When you live by style, your very presence becomes a form. Your words have muscle. Your silence has weight. Your steps carve new paths where others saw only stone. Do not complain that the journey is lonely. Of course it is. Whoever climbs leaves the marketplace. Whoever rises into thin air cannot expect the applause of the crowd. The herd will not understand you. They will mock, envy, or ignore. Let them. The warmth of the herd is cheap. The cold of the summit is costly, but it belongs to few who dared. Ask yourself, would you rather be embraced by the crowd or embraced by your own becoming? One is comfort. The other is destiny. Choose, and choose quickly. Fraternity is already weighing whether your days are worth repeating. Imagine a demon visiting you in the stillness of night. He whispers, this life you live, you will live it again and again in every detail endlessly. Every gesture, every shame, every triumph, every silence. Nothing will change. Nothing will be erased. Do you curse me or do you bless me? This is a test of strength. Eternal return is not a theory. It is a question, sharp as a blade. Would you embrace your life so completely that you could will it to repeat eternally? The weak recoil. They beg for escape, for redemption, for another chance. But the strong, the creators, laugh. They answer, yes, yes again. Let it return forever, for I have chosen it. The herd prays for salvation in another world. They want their suffering refunded, their errors erased, their chains justified. They hope for comfort in the arms of gods, in the order of morals, in the promise of reward. But you, if you be strong, must learn to say yes without conditions. No savior, no redemption, no beyond. Only this life, this earth, this body, this struggle, and your yes to it. Do not mistake this for resignation. Eternal return is not submission. It is affirmation. To will the eternal is to hammer your days until they shine enough to deserve repetition. It forces you to ask, if this moment will echo forever, would I be proud or ashamed? Most people flee this question. They numb themselves with routine, with distractions, with the narcotic of later. They say, tomorrow I will change. Tomorrow I will live. But tomorrow is already yesterday's corpse. There is only today, only this instant, and the demon asking, do you want this forever? To pass the test is to live as if each act were eternal, to speak words worth echoing, to make choices worth repeating, to suffer with dignity, to rejoice with fullness, to create with fire. Even your mistakes, if they are born from courage, become worthy of eternal return. When you live in this way, fear loses its grip, death loses its sting. For you have already given eternity its due. You have already said yes. What is death to one who has embraced life so fiercely that he wills its endless return? This is the secret of the overman. He does not ask the universe for meaning. He gives meaning. He stamps the seal of his yes upon existence. He becomes a measure, the compass, the rhythm. He no longer trembles before the question, why? He answers it with his life. So I ask you, if the demon stood before you tonight, whispering eternal repetition, how would you reply? With despair, or with the laughter of one who has already chosen himself? The road to power passes through three metamorphoses of the spirit. First comes a camel, the beast of burden, kneeling under the weight of thou shalt. It carries the rules of fathers, the commandments of priests, the customs of the herd. The camel kneels because it has been taught to. Its virtue is obedience. But obedience cannot create. Then comes the lion. The lion roars in the desert. I will. It smashes idols, claws down commandments, and declares war on every thou shalt. The lion learns to say no, to break, to destroy, to liberate. Yet the lion, too, is incomplete. It can destroy, but not yet create. It clears the land, but leaves it barren. Finally comes a child. The child is innocence, play beginning. The child says yes. Not the yes of submission, but the yes of creation. The child invents new games, gives new names to the world, dances without asking permission. The child is strength transformed into play, power turned into style. Do not mistake the child for weakness. Only the strongest can afford to play. Only the master of himself can laugh without fear. The herd clings to seriousness because seriousness hides their chains. But the child dances because he has broken them. He has reconciled with his shadow, embraces lion, and now creates freely. And what of the shadow? It never disappears. It follows you, dark twin, carrying your rage, your lust, your untamed hunger. If you deny it, it poisons you. If you acknowledge it, it becomes your ally. The shadow is your reservoir power, waiting to be shaped. The child does not exile the shadow. He plays with it, transforms its venom into art. Creation is this dance. Light and dark, lion and child. Yes and no. To live creatively is to be a dancer on the edge of chaos. Too much order and you become stone. Too much chaos and you dissolve. But on the edge, where form and fire meet, the dance begins. The herd fears this dance. They cling to rules, to stability, to inherited meanings. They say, do not risk, do not play, do not create, obey. But obedience is a cage with velvet bars. Creation is risk, but it is also freedom. To play is to affirm existence. To say yes even to the abyss. The question is not whether you will have a shadow. You already do. The question is whether you will let it devour you in silence, or whether you will turn and meet it, laugh with it, and dance it into something new. Only then can the child be born in you. Only then can your power sing. So I ask, are you still kneeling like the camel? Are you roaring like the lion? Or have you learned to laugh as a child, to create, to play, to dance? The overman is not a dream, not a ghost, not a god. He is flesh and fire, man transformed into more than man. He is not born by chance, he is forged, hammered by struggle, baptized in solitude, tempered by laughter. Where the herd asks for comfort, he asks for burden. Where the herd seeks salvation, he seeks creation. Do not imagine him as a tyrant ruling with iron chains. Tyranny is the sickness of the weak who hide their emptiness behind domination. The overman has no need to enslave others. He commands because he commands himself. He governs his instincts not by mutilating them, but by shaping them into rhythm and form. His power is not over, but through himself, through his creation, through the fire he breathes into the world. Freedom is not a gift. It is a burden. To be free means no excuses, no idols, no fate to blame. The weak tremble before freedom because it strips them naked. Suddenly, every choice matters. Every word weighs. Every silence echoes. The herd fears this responsibility, so they chain themselves willingly to morality, to authority, to tradition. They would rather obey than risk becoming authors of their own destiny. But the overman says, I accept. He carries the burden of freedom like Atlas carries the heavens, not as punishment but as triumph. Each choice becomes creation. Each act is a stroke of the brush painting the canvas of eternity. His life is not reaction but declaration. I am. Yet do not think the path is easy. The price of freedom is solitude. The crowd cannot walk with you where idols are shattered. The overman is misunderstood, ridiculed, sometimes hated. But he walks with a higher companion, his own becoming. He does not seek approval. He seeks to give form to the surplus burning within him. And what of suffering? The overman does not flee it. He embraces it as raw material, as hammer and anvil. He knows. He who has a why can endure almost anyhow. His why is himself, his task, his creation, his yes. He transforms pain into meaning, wounds into wisdom, chaos into order. Where the herd curses suffering, he consecrates it. The overman does not arrive at the end of history. He must be created in every age, in every individual who dares. He is not an end state, but a process, a spiral ever upward. He is the one who wills himself again and again into existence. So I ask you, will you cling to the herd, to the chains of comfort and borrowed meaning? Or will you dare the burden of freedom, and in carrying it become more than man? Every true creator is first a destroyer. The hammer must fall before the chisel can shape. Do not believe those who promise renewal without ruin. Growth demands fire. To create the new world, you must burn the old one within yourself. The herd clings to ruins and calls them heritage. They worship dead gods, repeat dead words, and mistake their echo for truth. They fear the silence that comes after destruction, so they fill it with noise. But silence is the workshop of becoming. The one who can endure it will hear a deeper music, the pulse of creation. Destruction is not rage without aim. It is discipline. The master does not smash at random. He strikes with precision. He clears the rot to make space for fruit. He tears down idols not because he hates them, but because he loves the earth they suffocate. Only through destruction can creation breathe. Creation itself is play with the abyss. To invent is to risk madness, to stretch beyond the known, to wrestle with chaos and coax it into form. Too much chaos and you dissolve. Too much order and you fossilize. But between them, where the knife edge gleams, the dance begins. Do you not see? This dance is not optional. Life itself is destruction and creation. Forests burn so that seeds may sprout. Suns collapse so that galaxies may rise. Men suffer so that meaning may be born. The universe itself dances on this rhythm. Why should you be exempt? The weak resist destruction. They cling to comfort, to the known, to the familiar cage. But comfort is the enemy of greatness. To cling to what dies is to die with it. The strong step willingly into fire, knowing it will scorch them, but also knowing it will temper them. They do not wait for the world to collapse. They collapse what must end, and in the ashes, they sow new seeds. Creation without destruction is decoration. Destruction without creation is despair. But destruction joined with creation is transformation. It is the rhythm of the overman. Hammer, chisel, song. And what of you? Are you willing to smash what no longer sings? To burn the masks that hide your face? To risk emptiness in order to carve fullness? If so, then step into the dance. Let your hammer fall. Let your fire rise. Let your laughter echo in the ruins. Only then will you discover. You were not made for obedience, but for creation. The higher man does not scowl the world. He laughs. Not the nervous laughter of the herd, which hides fear beneath noise, but a laughter that springs from overflowing strength. He has seen the abyss, stared into it, and instead of collapsing, he chuckled. For what is the abyss but a mirror? And what is courage but the willingness to laugh at one's reflection when it comes back twisted and monstrous? This laughter is not mockery. It is affirmation. It says yes, even this. Yes to suffering. Yes to failure. Yes to exile. Yes to triumph. Nothing is excluded. Nothing is disowned. The higher man laughs because he has reconciled himself with the totality of existence. He does not beg for the world to be different. He creates despite it. He does not demand that life be easier. He becomes harder. The herd cannot laugh this way. Their laughter is always at someone else, always downward, always poisoned with resentment. They laugh to cover their wounds. But the higher man laughs upward, outward, beyond. His laughter is like thunder rolling across mountains, a sound of freedom, of one who has said yes so completely that even tragedy becomes comedy. Do not confuse him with the clown of the marketplace. The clown seeks applause. The higher man needs no audience. His laughter is self-sufficient. He could laugh alone on a mountaintop, and it would echo across eternity, for it is not about others. It is about his own mastery over despair. And what is despair but unlawed laughter, untransformed pain? The weak drown in it because they never learn to dance with their wounds. But the higher man turns scars into rhythm. He dances where others stumble. He laughs where others weep. He turns heaviness into music. This laughter is also a weapon against dogma, against idols, against the solemnity of false prophets. Nothing disarms the tyrant faster than laughter. Nothing undermines the priest more than joy. Nothing terrifies a herd more than someone who needs no approval to sing. Laughter is rebellion, but also renewal. So learn to laugh, not to sneer, not to mock, not to hide, but to roar with joy at the absurdity of existence, to embrace the eternal return, to turn every fall into a leap, every tear into a song. For when you can laugh thus, you are already more than man. You are becoming. Becoming is not a destination. It is fire, always burning, always consuming, always transforming. Whoever seeks rest has already chosen decay. The higher man does not ask, "When will I arrive?" He asks, "How brightly can I burn?" The herd fears the fire. They pray for stability, for permanence, for fixed truths. They want to be stones, not flames. Stones endure, but they do not live. Flames perish, but they dance. Better a brief blaze becoming than an eternity of petrified obedience. Becoming is cruel. It spares nothing. What you were yesterday must be sacrificed for what you could be tomorrow. Each victory must be melted down. Each identity burned away. Each certainty cast into furnace. Do not clutch at what you have achieved. Clutching is a gesture of decay. Instead, throw into the fire and let it rise again, purified, transformed, alive. Do you understand? To become is to die 1,000 small deaths. The ego resists. It screams, I am enough, I am whole, I am complete. But this is the lie of comfort. You are not complete. You are a bridge, a rope stretched over the abyss, a flame moving from one form to another. Becoming is also joy. To feel life flow through you as creation. To sense new forms rising from your ashes. To laugh at the destruction of what once held you captive. That is joy beyond the herd's understanding. Their joy is safety. Yours is risk. Their joy is repetition. Yours is rebirth. Their joy is borrowed. Yours is forged. The fire of becoming demands courage. Most flee from it, for it promises no guarantees, no final resting place. It does not say, here you may stop. It whispers higher, deeper, further. To follow it is to live in motion, to be a spiral rather than a circle, a flame rather than an ember. But consider this. Is not the universe itself fire? Suns burn, stars collapse, galaxies whirl. Existence is not stillness, it is becoming. Why should man be exempt from this rhythm? He who resists fire resists life. He who embraces fire joins the dance of the cosmos. So I ask, will you choose the stone or the flame? Will you cling to permanence? Or will you surrender to the fire that transforms all things? To burn is to become. To become is to live. To live is to risk being consumed. And in that risk, to blaze with a brilliance the herd will never know. To create is the highest burden. Do not be deceived by poets who paint creation as mere inspiration, a gentle muse whispering verses into the ear. Creation is war. War against chaos. War against form. War against one's own cowardice. Every true work costs blood. The herd does not create. It imitates. They borrow words, recycle gestures, repeat the forms of the dead. They mistake preservation for creation, imitation for originality. But true creation begins where tradition ends, with risk, with danger, with solitude. The creator carries a double weight. First, the destruction of old idols. He must kill the father within, silence the priest in his head, burn the books that chain him to yesterday. Then, the shaping of the new. Out of ashes, he must forge rhythm, style, form. This is not a luxury, it is necessity. For without creation, power curdles into tyranny. Freedom decays into chaos. But do not think creation is for the self alone. The Creator's work overflows. It touches others whether he intends or not. His song becomes their courage, his vision their horizon, his laughter their liberation. The herd resists him at first. They mock, they rage, they fear. Yet secretly they drink from his fire. Without creators, the herd would drown in its own mediocrity. And yet, the Creator is never thanked. To give birth is to suffer rejection. The herd loves only what has already been tamed, what has already been digested. They celebrate the dead Creator, never the living one. They crown corpses, not flames. The burden of the living Creator is to endure this exile, to go on giving even when the world turns away. But what a gift! To shape chaos into music, to carve meaning into stone, to set words dancing like sparks. That is the joy of the strong. Creation redeems suffering not by erasing it, but by transforming it. The wound becomes a brushstroke, the scar signature, the pain a rhythm. Nothing is wasted. Everything is transfigured. So ask yourself, are you willing to carry this burden? To bleed into your work, knowing it may never be understood? To risk solitude, rejection, ridicule, only to give form to your fire? If you can, then you are already beyond the herd. You are not merely surviving. You are creating. And in creation, you give the greatest gift, the gift of new possibility. The Creator bears both curse and blessing. The curse, he will never rest among the herd. The blessing, he will never rot among them. His work will burn where he has burned, live where he has lived, sing where he has laughed. At the summit, there is no applause, only silence. The herd remains in the valley, whispering their morals, polishing their chains. Up here, the air is sharp, the sky vast, and the only companion is the echo of your own becoming. Many would call this loneliness, but the one who has endured the serpent, the fire, the laughter, and the burden knows this is freedom. To stand alone is not to be abandoned. It is to be sovereign. No priest dictates your path. No tradition binds your hand. No master bends your back. You carry the weight of your freedom without complaint, for you know it is the only weight worth bearing. The weak flee into collectives, into ideologies, into the comfort of we. The strong carve their eye into stone, and in doing so, they create the ground where future men may stand. The herd fears the one who stands alone. They call him arrogant, dangerous, insane, and perhaps he is, for to them, any refusal to kneel looks like madness. But the truth is this: he is not against them. He is beyond them. He does not waste his strength in resentment. He does not curse the herd. He leaves it. He ascends. He becomes. And yet, even alone, he does not hoard his fire. His very being radiates, a beacon to those few who also feel the tremor within. He does not preach. He does not command. He creates. His creation is the invitation, his style the proof, his laughter the call. If others follow, it is not obedience but awakening. This is the secret. Solitude is not isolation, but clarity. To stand alone is to hear life itself more clearly, to feel its pulse in your veins, to speak not with borrowed words, but with your own thunder. Only the one who has stood alone can truly give. Only the one who has dared freedom can offer it. So here at the summit, the question returns one last time. Will you tremble before your own power, or will you step into it fully? The serpent still coils at the threshold, but now you know its face. The idols still crumble, but now you wield the hammer with joy. The abyss still opens, but now you laugh as you leap. To stand alone is the final test, and the first victory. For here, without chains, without masters, without excuses, you can at last say the word that resounds across eternity. Yes, yes to suffering. Yes to freedom. Yes to the eternal return. Yes to the fire of becoming. Yes to the laughter of the higher man. Yes to the burden and the gift of creation. Yes to yourself. And in that yes, you are no longer merely human. You are more. You are the bridge and the flame, the hammer and the song. You are alone and therefore free.